Hello again, Aces fans, and welcome back to the Top of the Key. I'm Team President Nikki Fargas, and I am joined once again by Aces broadcast talent Carolyn Peck and Krista Blanc. Ladies, thank you for joining us again.
We got some exciting news to talk about today.
The 12 players who will represent the United States at the 2024 Olympic Games were leaked to the media late last week, and we got official confirmation of that list yesterday morning. We were pretty excited here at the Aces headquarters because Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, A'ja Wilson, and Jackie Young are all headed to Paris.
Yeah, Aces.
But before we discuss who made the team, let's talk a little bit about what goes into putting a team like this together.
Well, I think we first have to start with players that maybe didn't make the team because of the depth here in the United States. I mean, there are so many players. There's a reason the WNBA is adding teams and they're growing because the talent pool is phenomenal right now. And so I know there's a lot of people out there, they're not happy that maybe a Caitlin Clark didn't make the team, but let's talk about the talent that didn't make it. You know, you've got a Skylar Diggins-Smith who's playing incredibly well for Seattle this year, and she was on the gold medal winning team in Tokyo. You've got, players like that Alicia Gray, in particular for Atlanta, a phenomenal season for her. I mean, you can go through a huge list, a lot of talent out there. So there's a lot of depth, and I know people are not always happy, but I look at this roster and I think, wow, we are special.
Because you also got a player like Arike Agumbawale,
Yeah.
who's leading or second in the league in scoring right now. But listen, what is the goal? Is the goal ratings? No. The goal is to win the gold medal.
Yep.
So what does the committee look at when they're putting a team together? First of all, yes, you need talent, but you also need experienced talent at that level. The next thing you need to do is fit players who fit Cheryl Reeves' system and what works there, and then the chemistry piece, because when you are traveling across the pond in the Olympics, you've got to fit well together, and players that have that experience understand that level. Because the bottom line is, I'll say it again, the goal is to win the gold.
Yes.
Period.
And there are only 12 spots. That's
Right.
not a lot of spots. And you need depth in every single position. It's also about position players and where they all fit together.
Well, let's move on to the players who did get selected this go-around. In particular, we've got 4 players from the Las Vegas Aces.
Well, let's start with A'ja Wilson. She is on fire to start this 2024 season. She has scored over 200 points in the first 9 games. She's averaging 28.3 points per game. And then on the glass, she's gotten that double-figure rebounding category. That's always been her goal. But the other thing that A'ja has brought is her ability to handle the basketball, specifically becoming a playmaker. So now you add that to her 6'4" frame. Woo, tremendous. And then, yes, Chelsea Gray has not played up until this point, but as she gets healthy, there's no way you leave the point guard off that team. And she played 19 minutes a game. She scored a little over 7 points a game, dropping dimes. But you know what is valuable about Chelsea Gray? It's her leadership. People follow what Chelsea Gray says, does, because they know she knows the game.
Yeah, and she brings the experience at the point. No Sue Bird, she was on the last team. So she's going to be that player they're going to look to, and hopefully she's healthy. We got to talk about Kelsey Plum and Jackie Young. Sort of new to the Olympics. They were both part of the gold medal winning 3x3 team, that inaugural season for Tokyo. But I look at a Kelsey Plum and her game and the growth that we see. What does she bring? She brings speed. She brings rim read. She's doing a much better job in really picking and choosing. Does she drive it in? Does she hit the three? She's going to bring that three-point shooting. And then Jackie Young, solid conditioning, stability, and her game and the growth now taking over, running the point for the Aces with Chelsea Gray out. It's just elevating her game to a whole different level, but efficiency with scoring.
Well, another team that is well represented with 3 is the Phoenix Mercury. So you have Kalia Copper, you have Brittany Griner, and you have the great Diana Taurasi.
Well, that's what I was talking about with the familiarity. Those 3 players getting the experience to play together right now in this season definitely will help. And then Kalia Copper, like, you don't just all of a sudden know how to play next to Diana Taurasi, right? And so having that experience and being that go-to guard, and she's got athletic speed, quickness, and every year she seems to take her game to another level. So I think that was an excellent selection.
I think there were a lot of question marks with Diana Taurasi, but for me, as I see her game this year, and I have to say, if you asked me a year ago, I might have been nodding my head and agreeing with you. She put in the time. She's put in the work. work, the off season, the conditioning, worked specifically with a trainer to help her really get her game to where it needs to be. An unprecedented 6th Olympics. No one's done that, and potentially a 6th gold medal.
And you got to have a little toughness. You got to have a little Diana Taurasi about you when you're playing in the Olympics. And then Brittany Griner, she is back. And in her first game back, she had, just 11 points. What'd you have in that second game? 24. So BG is back. I think getting her fully healthy before she came back on the court, it was an excellent decision. But she is a dominant force inside, and not many countries have anything that can match up with the play of Brittany Griner.
Well, New York, there's a player in particular that is very hard to match up, and that is Breanna Stewart. So New York Liberty with Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu joining Team USA.
Yeah, I think Stewie, this will be her 3rd Olympics. She's already won a couple of gold. And I think the thing that people don't always think about with her, about her scoring ability, but she's a rebounder as well. And she led Team USA in rebounding in the last Olympics. She brings experience. She's a team player. Whatever they need, she can step out, she can take it in. She's got length, but she can play like a guard from the perimeter. I just think experience is so important, and she brings it.
And Sabrina Ionescu spreads the floor for you. And the thing that Sabrina's able to do is she can knock down that three-point shot. Yes, there will be three-point shooters on this Olympic team, but she also can get inside. She can distribute the basketball. She can push the ball in transition. And Sabrina really, after having a couple of years in the league, I think that experience has definitely helped her. Taking the New York Liberty to the finals last year, I think that level of experience helps as well when you're competing in the Olympics.
Now we have another first-time Olympian, and this young lady is a walking triple-double. In so many ways, she is one of the most versatile players in the history of the game in Alyssa Thomas.
Boy, she's a player you want on your team, not going up against her.
Yes.
She is just phenomenal. Just solid, so strong, but she's quick. She'll push it. She's leading the league right now in the WNBA in assists per game, but you think of her as such a defensive stopper. So she's going to give that presence on the defensive end. I mean, when we're talking about players that didn't make it, Dwana Bonner on her team, she's having quite a season too. So, I mean, again, so much depth, but I'm happy for AT getting her first chance as an Olympian. It's well-deserved.
A player like Alyssa Thomas, her versatility.
Yeah.
Because she can play 4 different positions. So when they go to pairs, if someone were, knock on wood, to get injured, Alyssa Thomas can fill that spot.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned you have to have a little bit of that Diana Taurasi, that edginess. Well, Alyssa Thomas definitely plays with that. Lastly, we have 2 other players in search of their 2nd gold medals. 2 of the best scorers in the league in Jewel Lloyd and Nafisha Collier.
Oh, Jewel Lloyd is lighting it up for Seattle right now. And putting her next to Skylar Diggins-Smith really, I think, has freed her up now to be able to go and get buckets. And that's something Cheryl Reeve is going to be able to do with Jewel Lloyd. Is like, we need a bucket, you need to get to the basket. And I don't know if there's anybody in the league better at catching an alley-oop and finishing.
No doubt. I think with Jewel Lloyd, too, she's one of those players, when she puts it up, you just think it's going in every time. She can be automatic. And then Nafisha Collier, what a season she's having in the WNBA. She comes off of maternity leave a season ago and got herself going again. Wow, I've never seen her play like this. She's become a completely different player. Inside, outside, you name it, she's doing it. And if anybody knows head coach Cheryl Reeve's system, it's going to be Nafisha Collier.
When you look at how this team is made up, you got 3 players that are tough matchups. They all are very good, but you have Nafisha Collier, Breanna Stewart, and A'ja Wilson, who all 3 can do the same thing. They are they're crafty with the basketball. They can finish inside. They rebound. They can also extend the floor and shoot it. So I think that's going to be a tough matchup for any country that the U.S. team goes up against.
Well, as we talk about how good we are offensively, this could be one of the best defensive units that
I agree
we
with
put
that.
together.
Yeah.
The length and the ball handling skills for the bigs. Again, they're so versatile. This group is incredibly versatile.
And when you watch international basketball, many times teams play 5 out. All right, and they, moving the motion, and they can put the ball in the air, and then a player runs right into it. So you've got to have the ability to defend away from the basket, and that's what I think. To your point, defensively, the bigs on this Olympic team can defend guards. Yeah. Talk about ratings. Everybody's worried about, are we going to have some ratings? With this group of women, hey, if you're not watching the Olympics, shame on you, because you're going to miss out on something special.
Thanks again for joining us, ladies. We look forward to cheering on our aces in Paris later this summer, and we will have plenty of coverage of the 2024 Olympics on In the Paint throughout the Olympic break. We will see you all next week with another edition of Top of the Key.